What's up, guys? Welcome back to Thomas Young's and I, Bryce Lindsay's, research project. Today we'll be showing off our work with game animations. Both of us took a pinch of a different approach to this, so I'll pass the mic off to my partner.
I worked with Price in order to accomplish a simple but in the end complex goal. I was to model, animate, import, and then blueprint a custom player character onto the third-person player character. Price's job was to model, animate, and then import and then blueprint a custom animation for a non-player model. I created the player character who started off being called Steve, but who evolved into becoming Blockman as I worked. During my creation process, my partner worked on their part as well. We then imported them into a simple level made from a few assets that we made ourselves, and then the rest being free assets on a store provided by Game Asset Factory on the Unreal Marketplace. Ultimately, I ended up using these 6 different videos on YouTube, either in part or in their entirety, as references to learn or troubleshoot how to rig a character skeleton to a model in Maya, how to animate said skeleton, how to then export that animated skeleton into Unreal, and then how to assemble, blend space, and blueprint these animations and models I created for Blockman. Importing my separate project that I used to test and create the initial Blockman led me to go back through the entire process, as renaming the imported character file caused part of the blueprinting for the animation triggers to fail, as they were coded for the imported player character and not for the player character being used in the project Price had been working on and separately. Ultimately, I learned quite a bit. This is where I essentially did all of my work. Modeling Blockman in Maya was simple, and the first and second video walked me through rigging and animating the model into the skeleton with a mesh and bones. Animating it was much like animating other Maya models, using keyframes and mesh weight on the skeleton, manipulation joints, and the mesh of the model respectively, to achieve the motion I wanted. Once they were imported into Unreal, it was a matter of fixing surface materials for the UVs, which I already knew how to do, and then creating animation blueprints and animation blend spaces to move between an idle and walking animation depending on the speed Blockman moves at. The finishing touch was then instructing Unreal to cast Blockman's model and animation to the third-person player model, and then using his velocity to move in between idle and walking animations whenever needed.
I took the path of NPC animation, not the player character, but just someone or something somewhere. I did this with a cartoonish flower asking for help getting a water bucket. I also made an indicator for when you're near something that can be interacted with. First thing I had to do was model and animate my flower. Easy enough, my knowledge of Maya took me far here. Shaped, skinned, boned, rigged. Boom, I'm on to the next step. First tutorial I ran was Jason's importing animations from Maya to Unreal, which is exactly what you'll get from this video. It was short and to the point, and eventually, I happened to get it to work. Once I had gotten my flower, who I am at this very moment in a yard, into Unreal, I started to cook up his dialogue with instructions from Gorka Games in their video, How to Make a Simple Dialogue System in Unreal Engine 5, in which they describe how to blueprint the talking process. It was a bit hard to follow at some points, but it all fell into place for some reason. And finally, to top this part off, I made a notice that you could talk to Yard in the first place. Matt Asplund helped with this part with their video Press E to Interact, on-screen prompt, Unreal Engine 5 tutorial. Super easy to digest video, by the way, I'd fully recommend. Now with my main goal accomplished, I spent the rest of my time filling blanks in our creations. I constructed a short level using marketplace assets, say a few collectible coins because those are always fun, and of course a bucket that Yard asked for, that you collect. Now for a couple shoutouts for those who helped in the process. Shout out to Game Assets Factory for their Isometric World Sky Temple pack. Shout out Luddenschlatt's Musical Emporium for the background music. Shout out me from a few weeks ago for letting me use his podium in the spinning blueprint for the coins. Shout out Ian Governor, who helped with the bucket retrieval system. And finally, shout out this rat, and Adobe Stock, who owns the right to this rat.